Hey, what's up guys, it's Texmer talking to you here, and today I want to talk about the iMac Pro and iMac 27-inch that were rumored to come out this March event. But recently Ross Young has leaked and has tweeted saying that he doesn't expect the iMac Pro to come at least by the end of August release time and to be announced at least until WWDC or summertime. So this is quite weird because in the past we saw leaks indicating that we will see a 27-inch iMac with the M1 Pro and M1 Max according to Dylan DKD. That would happen or March, and that's weird because those two are very reliable and now they are contradicting themselves. But Ross Young only said that he's not expecting an M1 Max variant, which in this case an iMac Pro variant of the iMac with a more powerful CPU at least until the end of the summer. And so now we are left undoubted which one we will see, or we will see any 27-inch iMac on the March event. Well, I have a theory. I think that we will see a M1 Pro and M1 Max 27-inch iMac on the March event. Yes, I do believe that because I do think Apple will release the M1 Pro and M1 Max chips on a 27-inch M1 iMac 24-inch like. So it will be like the 24-inch iMac that we have right now, but with a 27-inch screen, starting at least at $2,000, like the 14-inch computer that we have right now, the MacBook Pro. And so I do think that will happen. Those computers we will see, but of course, what are the differences between that and the iMac Pro that is coming later in the year? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. And so if you are excited, don't forget to drop a like down below and to subscribe to my channel. If you are interested in watching videos about iPhones, older iPhones, their impacts, I have a new series on the channel which is called iPhones Past. If you are interested, don't forget to go down on the description below. You will have the playlist link so you can watch all of the episodes. Right now, if you are watching this video live, then of course I only have one episode available. It's about the iPhone 5. So if you are interested, go take a look. And if you like that series, please don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe to my channel to keep up with my recent episodes. So, no further ado, roll the intro. So, the iMac Pro, right? That's a computer that everyone wants to see right now. Well, according to Ross Young, we have to wait a bit more because according to Ross Young, it will be announced on the beginning of the summer, which will probably be WWDC, and then be shipping at least until the end of August. So, for me, we should only expect it on September. But again, are you going to see the iMac Pro now on the March event and then on September will be the release date, or are you just getting it announced on WWDC? Well, I do think that there's a possibility that Apple releases together with the iMac 27-inch this March event. We will see in this March event M1 Pro and M1 Max computers. There's no doubt about that. I'm almost 100% sure. So you should expect an M1 Pro and M1 Max Mac Mini and an M1 Pro and M1 Max iMac. Yes, an iMac, but not the iMac Pro, because I believe that Apple will release the two variants, the iMac Pro and the iMac 27-inch. The iMac Pro will be a more beefy iMac with a way better display, better speakers and better I/O than the 27-inch iMac, which will be more like the M1 iMac that we have right now. This M1 iMac that we have right now, it has a 24-inch display, which is still LCD, and so I do believe that Apple will create a 27-inch LCD iMac with the M1 Pro and M1 Max chip, which will be starting around probably $1,500, $2,000. Then, of course, we will see a mini LED iMac Pro, which Ross Young is talking about, and this mini LED iMac Pro will have 120 Hz, will have every iMac Pro like features like better speakers, more beefy design, so we can have an even better CPU, which will be the M1 Max Duo. And this computer will be announced together with Mac Pro on WWDC on June. Why this makes sense? Because Apple releases their computers with a schedule. Their schedule is like, they release the chip, and when they do release the chip, they release all of the computers that they have to release with this chip. At least they release 2 or 3. They do not mix chips releases together, like they did not release any M1 computers together with the M1 Pro and M1 Max, and that's why I do believe they won't release any computers together with the M1 Pro and M1 Max that have an M1 Max Duo. So I do believe Apple will release every single computer now on March event that they have to release with the M1 Pro and M1 Max Mac Mini, the M1 Pro and M1 Max variants of the 27-inch iMac, and then later on the summer they will release the 27-inch iMac Pro, which will be based around the same design as the 27-inch that we have right now, but we'll have mini LED, ProMotion, more beefy design, a bit thicker, so it can have a better CPU, better cooling, it will have more I/O, and it will probably have better speakers, or 100% more sure they will have a lot better speakers, together with the Mac Pro. When they do release these two computers, they will launch and announce the M1 Max Duo, which will be the variant present on the iMac Pro, which will also be the same starting point to CPU for the Mac Pro. Then the Mac Pro will have the M1 Max Quadro, which will be the 4 M1 Max together, and that will be a more expensive option. But you can see that Apple will join the chips together and make the M1 Max Duo, M1 Max Quadro together only on WWDC, and the devices that will come with these chips will be available only on WWDC and announced only on WWDC. Those will be the real Pro devices. Now we are seeing Apple announce the more Pro-like consumer, which will be the M1 Pro and M1 Max Mac Mini and M1 Pro and M1 Max iMac. These are geared to the Pro consumer side, but then the iMac Pro and the Mac Pro will be geared towards the enterprise side and the real Pro side, like the pros that can spend $10,000 on a computer. So yeah, do not be worried, do not be fooled by this leak array which everyone is talking about. Oh gosh, there's no iMac now. Oh, next week we will be, oh god, we will see another iMac, and there will finally be an iMac on this event. Everyone was wrong, my theory was wrong. Do not fall for that, do not fall for that, because that's stupid. You have to be thinking and critical of yourself. Always take the leaks with a grain of salt. Will we see an iMac Pro in March event? No, Ross Young is correct. No, we won't see, because I do believe we will see the announcement coming on June. Like, the Mac Pro will also be announced in June, but it will probably be available only by the end of the year, while the iMac Pro will probably be announced on June and be available by the end of the summer. So Ross Young is correct, his timelines are correct, he's a supply chain source, so I do believe about these timelines. So you cannot forget that most of the time they do not specifically know the products, they just know the display parts or the parts of this computer. And so they might be thinking, oh, if there's only one computer and the parts are delayed, maybe the old computer is delayed. But no, not the old computer is delayed. Apple will make two computers, one with an LCD screen which has a 27-inch size, and this is probably ready and will be launched, according to Dylan DKD, on March event. And then Apple has also another variant of the iMac, which is the iMac Pro, will have this mini LED display that Ross Young is tracking, and now he believes that it's delayed. So again, it will be delayed, according to Ross Young. So I do believe both are right, and I do believe that we are making a storm on a glass of water, because you have to think critically and you have to take the leaks with a grain of salt. And if you are thinking by yourself, you start to think that it makes sense for Apple to release a Pro consumer iMac with the 27-inch LCD display more cheap than usual. Then we are thinking about the iMac Pro, because the iMac Pro won't start at $2,000. The iMac Pro will start probably at $4,000. So you have to think that Apple won't make just like a $4,000 iMac and a $1,000 iMac. Apple doesn't work like that. They will make a $1,000 iMac, $2,000 iMac, $3,000 iMac, $4,000 iMac Pro. And so, yes, I do believe Apple will create an iMac Pro. Yes, I do believe Apple will create an iMac 27-inch separate from the iMac Pro. And yes, I do believe that this computer will come on the March event together with M1 Pro and M1 Max Mac Mini. And of course, the iMac Pro will come together with the Mac Pro. The real Pro computer desktop will come out on WWDC together in June with the software development event. Of course, this is more geared towards Pro. Apple has already released the 2019 Mac Pro on WWDC. The 2017 iMac Pro was also released in this schedule, and the 2013 Mac Pro was also released in WWDC. So yeah, it's normal for Apple to release Pro computers during this timeline. But do not be fooled. Do not think that, oh god, the March event is completely boring right now, it's dead for me. We will only see the iPhone SE, which, by the way, this is the most boring update for the iPhone ever, so I do expect it to come on April, like supply chain sources are saying, and it will come on a press release. Apple does not unveil iPhone SEs on an event with the older-like design, because it's awkward for them to present a 10-year-old or 13 or 9-year-old design in an event. Like, they are saying the same good design that you love about the iPhone, which right now is 6 years old. So they won't do that. They will just release it on a press release saying now it has 5G and A14 chip. So here we go, the iPhone SE 2022. So yeah, this won't be a press release, but probably next year it will be with the new iPhone SE 2024. But this update for the iPhone SE, I don't believe it will be a March event presence. But then, of course, what will be available on the March event? Like I told you, iPad Air and M1 Pro and M1 Max Mac Mini, M1 Pro and M1 Max iMac, those two are the two computers that will be released on this March event. And then, of course, the iPhone 13 new color that we are expecting, and probably some services, things that Apple wants to update and they will talk about on an event. Last year it was Apple Music, so let's see what will happen. But yeah, this is my predictions for the March event. But of course, the video was focused on the iMac, so here you go. The iMac Pro will come out on June, WWDC. The iMac will come out on March event. So yeah, the both leakers are correct and you should not worry about it. Just wait for the March event to see. Don't go on this leak wave where you have to believe every single leak that comes out and you start to get into almost it's like a TV show in a series. Like this happens and that is very dramatic, and then another episode happens, a new leak, and everyone is mad and dramatic about it. Relax. You will see an iMac Pro on WWDC, I'm telling you, and you will see an iMac 27-inch which has a cheaper like design, white bezels on the March event. So expect 27-inch white bezeled iMac on the March event. Don't be mad when you see it, and expect a black bezel iMac Pro, which will have an even more powerful CPU on WWDC. So again, be open-minded about everything, and do not forget that this leak game is just speculation, it's just leaks. It's not confirmed by Apple until Apple releases it. So always take leaks with a huge grain of salt. This was Tex Tumor talking to you here. Do not forget to subscribe. Bye.